Hey everyone, this is Gwydion with hopefully a short video to talk a little bit about a new virtual tabletop that I came across called Role. And this is not to be confused with Let's Roll, which I kickstarted that as well. So there's a lot of new entries in the virtual tabletop world. What I find interesting about Role is it's much more people-focused. So it's much more about a real-time video chat built in. And all of the character sheet functionality is kind of point and click and it's typed in, so no coding necessary. So what I'm going to show you in this video is about Shadow of the Demon Lord template that I created, but I did all just by kind of brute force, typing in and using the tools within Role. So let me kind of get to that. Oh, and you can find this at playrole.com. And currently it's in alpha. If you're going to sign up for this, it's $8.99, I believe, or $8.95 for the early access. But if you're a player, then you can just play for free. So anyway, that's that. Let me click off that and show you what I've built. So again, this is a template I created for Shadow of the Demon Lord. I'd like to share it on Role, but as you'll see as I get into it, because of all the data I have in here, I'm going to have to reach out to Robert Schwab, the creator of Shadow of the Demon Lord, and see if he'll allow me to share it, because there is some content in here that maybe I could strip out if he doesn't want me to share it. So anyway, we'll get to that. So you can see this is what this screen looks like when you're in Role. I actually added a map just to show you how it shows up when you add an asset. So here's a map of the Northern Reach from Shadow of the Demon Lord. You can see me down here. The only reason I put myself on today is this is where all of the different people would be. So each person would have their own video chat down here, which is kind of cool. And if the map is gone, if you stop sharing the map, then the people go front and center. Hello? So let me put that back so so I'm not front and center. So there you go. So I'll put that back. So let's get into the character sheet, which is the main reason to show what I wanted to show off, what I've created. So a lot of these are just manual inputs that you can include, but here's a level. So you can put the level in yourself so that whatever player owns this could include their level. Fortune, I added a toggle. So they have these toggle functionalities, so you can kind of say it's on or off. So if the GM granted you Fortune, you could turn it on here. Ancestry with a little description. This is a text box. The player can't modify this, but it just describes a little bit more about what Ancestry is. And then gender, age, religion. In Shadow of the Demon Lord, as I understand it at least, it's really mostly relevant if you're a path, if you select a path that requires a religious tradition, so you'd want to include it here. Languages, professions, because if I continue to type in here and I get to the very end, it'll spill over. I included a separate box, so kind of just a couple boxes for professions. Then you get into attributes. So the cool thing here is you can see all the dice up here that you can manually click on. But if I want to roll, and I've done this on the back end, but you can change this to whatever your current strength score is. I went ahead and input it. And then if you click edit, you can also change the buffs in here. But I'll leave them as I've selected them now. And I've tied these rolls in, which you can do on the back end as well. So if I want to do a strength challenge roll, I just click the D20. You can see it's highlighting these. So it picked up a reference that I have later in the sheet. So we all know that in Shadow of the Demon Lord, the challenge roll target number is always 10. So I included that just as a reference. You can see the D20s here, and my buff for my challenge roll, which is based on my strength score, is included. And then I can expand this and just click roll. And then there you go. Now, most of you probably know there's a Boon Bane system, which I did include a section, and you can see, got all these sections you can jump to directly on your character sheet. But there's a Boon Bane right here that I could click on. But honestly, I might even delete that later because, there we go. Because what you could do is if you had a boon, you could click a D6 and it shows up right here. And then if you roll again, basically it'll just include it in there, which is pretty cool. Now, if you had like 2 or 3 boons, you could say, hey, I want 3 D6s, roll them all. And so it includes them all, but then you could just keep the highest by dropping them. And if it was a Bane, you could do the same. Let's say that we had 3, we're rolling, and instead of boons, these should be Banes. 6 is still my highest. So what I would have to do there is in the buff, click on this, put in a custom buff of -6, and then confirm, and then get rid of my boon rolls. So then I just have my D20, and my buff now is my strength score +2, and then it's minus the Bane. So look, it works. Okay, it's not perfect, but it works. So let me clear that roll and hide this. So same thing for agility challenge roll. So all of my challenge rolls are set, and then there's explanations of each. You've got defense, power, size, and speed, perception. So state, I've got health, and obviously you can put in your health there. And damage, as you know, you would track up. So whenever you get damage, you're increasing it. I might put in a current health. I don't know. It seems like maybe overkill, but we'll see. And then healing rate, which is, I think, a quarter of your health. And then insanity, and you can see these trackers. So if you ever get like 3 insanity, and you can either toggle it up here like that, or you can just click right on the slot tracker. Or you can just, if you don't want that at all, you can just expand collapse it. Corruption number, boons, banes, as I showed you. And here's where I input my challenge roll target. So I was able on the back end to tie this to whatever rolls I wanted. And that's why it automatically showed up. And I have a combat section. So let's expand the roll again. So if I do an agility attack roll, it automatically has the D20. Now, in this case, I tied it into my boon bane number. So because I have my boon banes right here, and I already have one toggled, it's picking it up, so I can change that later. But I can always just get rid of that if I don't have a boon on this roll, and then just roll. In this case, I don't have the target reference number because I'd have to do it against the target's defense. If I knew the target's defense, I could just put it in and say, hey, I know the target's defense is 15. Sorry, guys. The target's defense is 15. Just put it in there, confirm, and now you have that number if you want it. So clear that back out again. So I have a little section on weapons, and again, you can just click down these if you want. I'm just kind of expanding them down to show you, but I have weapons in the combat tracker. I typed in axe, damage, roll, d6, and if there's a bonus, like if there's a +1, +2, number of hands, you can click add for as many weapons as you like, or you can delete these and only have, if I only have the one weapon, but I can just click this add to add. Same thing for spells. This is where, just for the combat section, I've got my spells. I've got spell, like attack modifier, attack, boon, bane. Again, it's probably overkill now that they added the ability to add in custom dice. But, and then I've got more spell attacks, so I can delete these. And I have challenge roll and attack rolls. Paths. So this is just, again, you type in your path, but I have more on paths to show you in a minute. Magic. So this shows the castings by spell rank. I use this using the Markdown language. So again, on the back end, you can create these tables using Markdown. It's pretty cool. So some of the description fields, you can use Markdown. Some of them you can't. Like titles and things, you can't. Traditions. So again, you can delete traditions, but I have them to where you can type in like air. As you add traditions, you can just click the add button and it'll expand. I like this. So the way I did the spells right now is I didn't want to type in all the spells or include them for copyright purposes. But what I've done is I've included the basic information. And actually, if I delete these, I should have done this before I started the video. I apologize. But okay, so if I'm just in my rank 0 spells and click add, here's what it'll show every time. So tradition, name, type, target area, duration. These are most of the fields you'll need for any spell. But if I don't need things like triggered, requirement, or sacrifice, I can delete them and then type in, the information I need for the spells that I've learned. But then when I click add, the next time it opens up, it'll have all of that information. So again, at least it's all there and you can delete it if you don't want it. Same thing, and I just did rank 0, 1, and 2 for now for the lower levels. So then let's go down to Ancestry. This is where I feel like I'll need permission from Robert Schwab. So here you could click on, like if I'm going to be a human, I can type in human up in my character sheet, but then I can toggle this just to show that, hey, I'm a human. Here are my starting attribute scores. Again, use Markdown to create a table. And then I formatted some of this to show your perception scores, and we'd have to type those in up above. And then again, when you level up, if I'm a level 4 human, I can toggle that. So then I have all the different starting ancestries you could select from down here. then, and this is where I have a lot of information. So these Novice Pass, I like this, but what I did is I created a link to a Dropbox folder where I only have this one page, but it's still a lot of text from the book, and I'm not sure that Schwab will want me to do that. So it kind of has these tables so you can know a little bit more. My intention was that people can have a little bit of their text over here about what each is, and then they can read the page if they want. And then if you go scroll down, I actually have the actual information straight out of the book. So the information on magicians, the levels, and you can toggle these on and off. If you select magician, what languages you know. So all your information is right here. And I've got all of the starting Novice Pass, but then I have all the expert paths. So Paths of Faith, and then again, these are all clickable to those pages as I showed you. Paths of Power, Trickery, and War. And then each one, I've got them all in here. So I'd love to be able to share this as a template. I'm just not sure that he'll want me to, given all the data that's in here. Inventory, just basic information, quantity and item. And then again, you can add as many as you want. Weapons. So this is more detail on your weapon. So this is intended to be more of like an inventory sheet here. And the combat only has what you needed in combat. So name, damage, how many hands, 1 or 2, properties, finesse, reach, etc. And then requirements. Is there a strength requirement? So again, if you click on add, it'll duplicate all of that depending on how many weapons you have. Clothing and armor, I could do a requirements here, but for now I just have name and defense. Like, is it agility +1, or a static number? Then I have a wealth section for bits, pennies, shillings, and crowns. And then I have just a notes section. You can use anything you want to create for character notes, but I also have an add quirk and marks of darkness note, so that if you get any marks of darkness, you could kind of track them here. I'm trying to decide if I need to add talents to this. I'm not sure, because I've already got it. If you look in these paths, everything's here. So I'm not sure I need it separately. People just have to click down and look for that. So that's it for now. Sorry, it was a little longer than expected, but I'm encouraged with this system. It's kind of a cool minimal, particularly for something like Shadow of the Demon Lord, that you just kind of want to get your character sheet together. You don't really even need much in the way of maps. I actually did, like, what I might do with this, and I'll show you real quickly, is I kind of created a Theater of the Mind map. This isn't perfect, but the intention here is I'd have just a Theater of the Mind. So you'd have our people down there that we could look at, but then you kind of have your ranges, so I could put different tokens in here and say, hey, are they next to each other? Are they in melee range? Or are they still far out? So it's a little more of a Theater of the Mind map versus an actual, map with line of sight and all that good stuff. So that's it for now. Thanks again. If you'd like to give me a thumbs up, and if you have any other suggestions, let me know. Thank you.